once I set foot in that art classroom with Miss Anna
Mm,
Janich, the best art teacher ever, I felt like I was home.
mm.
I felt like I could be myself.
Welcome to Sensitive Stories. This episode is for educational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for treatment with a mental health or medical professional. Let's dive in.
Podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, April. I have been looking forward to this. I'm so excited to talk to you.
Same. It's always nice to meet folks who I've met online and we get to connect a little bit more deeply.
Hmm.
Before we get started, though, I'd always love to hear about your HSP discovery story. So if you can
Mm.
remember how or when you realized, oh, I think I might be highly sensitive.
Oh, man. Well, I feel like I've known there was something about me that was different ever since I can had a conscious memory. So I think knowing that has been something that I've just had to kind of make peace with over the years. And it was such a relief when I finally started hearing the term HSP. I don't even remember how many years ago it was, but as soon as I went through the checklist, I think I checked every single box,
Yes.
as I'm sure you probably experienced too. There's at some point there was like a checklist, and I think I went online and did the quiz.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, go ahead.
No, I just resonating with that because a lot of people that I talked to, myself included, there's this knowing early on something is different. I experienced the world in a different way. But then later in life, as adults, we finally start to piece together the language. And okay, this is a
Yes.
thing. And okay, I found a book, taken the self test, and it's like, okay, things start to come together.
Yeah, and it really does just put everything into perspective. And um, I read the book Sensitive with Jen Granneman, and
Oh,
I
yes.
think that that was probably the first start to finish book where I went, oh, every single bit of
Yeah.
this I can relate to. Like there were pieces of different things here and there, and I had kind of heard the term sprinkled in here and
Hmm.
there, but it wasn't until I read that cover to cover that I went, oh, okay, I am not alone. There are more of me, and just the relief that that
Yeah.
brings is just immense. And I would say that that was a really pivotal point in my life. I mean, it's been a few years now, but just the confidence that I've been able to slowly build ever
Mm.
since that realization, and just having the language for it, and knowing that, oh my gosh, this is something that we can really lean into if we let ourselves, you know.
Yes, if we let ourselves, exactly. So
It takes courage.
it
It
does
takes
take
courage.
courage. It really
Yeah.
does. Can you speak more to that?
I think it's I was listening to some clips of sensitive stories like in the lead up to this, and
Yeah,
I kept taking all these little notes of yes, 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 because these are like the people that I get.
there are
And
people.
yeah, exactly. And there was this one man, and I didn't write down his name because I was busy doing other things at the same time, but he was talking about how like carving out what we need can sometimes feel a little narcissistic,
Mhm.
and it can feel like me. And I
Yeah.
know that that has been something that in past relationships and in my family, it's like there's kind of a balance. It's like, oh, like, is she
Yeah.
just being a princess, or is she,
Hmm.
like, but understanding now that, like, oh my gosh, all I have been trying to do my entire life is just like keep my head above water so that I can function. And none of this is out of like I wish I did not need for you to turn off the overhead light when I come into your
Sure.
house. I
Hmm.
wish that I could be in a loud room and stay up late and not have that affect me. Like if like really like that would be amazing. The fact that I do need all of that, I've had to make peace with just like it's okay that I need that. And it's okay that I can't show up in certain spaces. And really grounding myself into that reality, that's where I'm trying to come from, is just the like unapologetic, this is what I need. And if you don't like it, like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
So
really that is that I can feel that energy of like, yes, this is what I need, recognizing it, living it, claiming it, and not needing to apologize because your sensitivity is not changing. We can make adjustments to feel more comfortable, to meet our needs, but ultimately at the core, we are always going to be sensitive. And you said, like, now in adulthood, there's been some confidence building, being able to accept that. And before we get in too far down the road, I'm curious to look a little bit back because when we realize that we're highly sensitive, oftentimes that's the first part of the process that happens. You start to look at what came before and say, oh, I need to rewrite those stories with this awareness of myself. So I'm curious if you could share a little bit about that. How have you
I would
reframed the
love that.
past?
I would
Yeah.
love to dive into that because you know, in my art, a lot of times I explore memory, I explore
Mm.
nostalgia. I think even before we're forming thoughts, we take in the world in such a visual, visceral way that, a lot of times I'll just kind of have these flashbacks to those times. Like what did it feel like to be this little tiny person just taking in this brand new world and colors and just all of it. So I love sort of going back in time in a way. And so when I think about little Jill, I think I both loved the world that I was in,
Mm.
and I also really struggled with being in
Yeah.
the boxes of school, the boxes of, like, I grew up in a pretty conservative church, and like fitting into those boxes, dressing up every Sunday in these really scratchy tights and lacy dresses, and being told that my impulses were not right, like that
Mm-hmm.
anything that I felt in my intuition was not something to be trusted, but it was something to be questioned.
Mm.
And anyway, so I had trouble fitting in those boxes. My first day of kindergarten, I came home and I said, I don't think that my teacher likes children very much. And I
Mm.
just asked my mom about this the other day, and she was like, "You know what? I don't think she did either. I got that vibe too." And then the other story I remembered when I was thinking about this was there was this sand tray in the kindergarten
Mm.
classroom, and I was so excited to play with that. I came home and I was like, "If that's a part of kindergarten, then I want to be a part of it." April, I did not get to play with that thing once. Like,
The whole year?
it just sat in the corner and no one played with this sand tray. Isn't that so
Oh,
tragic?
that is
It's
tragic. It's
like
kindergarten. You're supposed to
it's
be exploring your
kindergarten.
world.
Yeah, yeah. And it just wasn't part of things.
Oh.
And so in
Hmm.
reparenting, I'm going to go in
Yeah.
this direction here. In reparenting, I am really trying to honor that little kid. And
Yes.
my town has this amazing arts festival every year. And there's this, I'm going to just shout out Olander Earthworks because they're these handmade, they're actually over here. He carves out these
Oh,
insanely beautiful designs, and then
that is
you buy
gorgeous.
a sand tray and you can make
Oh,
little and so
oh,
I was
gorgeous.
like, I'm buying little Jill a sand tray. Like, she gets to play
Yes.
now, and so connecting with all of that, and like just giving that kid self of you, like what you needed then. There's something really healing about that, don't you
Mm-hmm.
think?
Oh, 100%. And I was really hoping you would a sand tray as an adult.
I do. I have the sand tray. My daughter is like, "Oh my gosh, would you shut up with the sand tray already?" I bought it like four years ago, and all her friends would come over, and I'd be like, "Look at my sand tray." It was so playful and so ridiculous, but it filled me with such joy, and it
Well,
still
and
does.
that's the thing. You can recapture those moments, have those, like full circle healing experiences, and give yourself what you needed then. Now, your
Yes.
adult self can take care of your younger self and say, here's the sand tray. You play with it whenever you want to.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh
and
my
Santrays are so
gosh.
healing. Having studied Santray in the very early parts of my therapist trajectory, I know how important they can be in working through
Really?
experiences. And they were great tools for working out the unconscious as children and adults. Perfect for play
Wow.
therapy. So I'm not surprised you were drawn to it. A lot of
Oh
symbolism
my
there.
gosh. Oh,
Yeah.
that is so cool. I didn't even know that was like a therapy thing.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. No wonder we started talking about sand.
I know.
That's great. Not a direction I thought we'd go in.
No, but not an accident
That's
either.
great. Okay, so the question was, what do I remember? Like, what was my experience
Yeah.
in my childhood too? Um, I was just so sensitive to anything sensory,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really confusing. And it was like I moved through my days at school with this vision of I what I would be comfortable in. Oh, if we could turn out the lights, if we could, like, I even remember having this idea. What if everyone took off their outside shoes when they got here and put on soft slippers? And what if we had like bean bags in the classroom
Yes.
and lamps? And what if I mean,
Yes.
I'm like, it was so just different. And I just couldn't wait to get home after school. I just wanted to go home and play with my Legos and color
Mm-hmm.
and be in my own just
Yes.
space. And then not to mention all the social
Sure.
interactions and everything coming at you from peers. Um,
Yes. You're really inundated. And it sounds like, I noticed at the beginning you talked about your sensory lived experience. And I just wonder, and all HSPs tend to be more sensory sensitive, but I wonder, being
mhm.
an artist, if there's also a heightened experience there of being drawn to that layer of yourself. I don't know. I'm just curious.
I think so. Well, say more about that so that it brings this out a
Yeah,
little
it
bit.
just I noticed when you walked into the classroom, like you noticed all these textural details. And
Mhm,
I mean, you're also picking up on social cues of the teacher, and there's a perception
mhm,
and an intuition there, but also being
mhm.
really mindful of, how could I make this space more sensory friendly? Like, you went an extra step in your mind. So
Interesting.
I'm just curious about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so this gets to during my late 20s and all of my 30s, I helped people in their spaces and I helped them create, like, my tagline was like creating harmonious environments. And so my
Mm-hmm.
favorite thing was to just go in and work with what they already had and just like rework it. And
Yes.
that just lit me up. So before I did full-time art, that's what I did. And so I guess I got to live out that dream. Like,
Well,
all right, well, I couldn't
yes.
control it then, but you know what? I'm going to come and make a
Yes.
cozy space now.
Well, I love that. It's like it was always in you. And
Yeah.
obviously there's a lot of layers to this and to your sensitivity, but I always love seeing those through lines of, like, this was always here. I was born this
Mhm.
way. It's not
Mhm.
changing. Let me embrace it.
Mm.
And
The
yeah.
acceptance is
Mm-hmm.
the acceptance is the key. Just that
Mm-hmm.
coaching ourselves through it. When we get overstimulated, not beating ourselves up over it, but
Yeah.
instead just being like, it's okay. I mean, honestly, it's so cheesy, but sometimes I'll just be like, it's okay. It's all right.
Yes.
I got you. Like, this is okay. You feel this big feeling right now,
Yeah.
and it's okay to feel it. I mean, it's just revolutionary. And wouldn't it have been nice to learn all this stuff as kids?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Better late than never. There's no going
Yeah.
back. And
It's
yeah.
true. I do the same
Hmm.
thing. I've learned just to transform that inner voice, and yeah, offering myself physical care and contact, and like, hey, you're gonna be okay. You're doing a good job. Just
Yes.
all the
All
things
of
I wanted to
that.
hear.
Oh my gosh. And
Yeah,
what we didn't get from our teachers. I wanted to
exactly.
say one of the other things
Yes.
that I was thinking about my childhood was this this PE teacher that I know was just like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with this girl? He used to, so I grew up in the 80s, and the 80s was a little feral, like
Oh,
the
it
80s
was.
was like 80s PE class was just, I don't know.
Yep.
So he had this game called Pick Up Your Own Backyard. And do you remember those like giant basketball size, like dodgeballs. Like they were
Oh, yes.
red rubber ones. They were really hard. You're shaking your head. I
Oh,
love this. Like you
nightmare.
get it.
Yes. I was so
Nightmare.
scared of those.
Oh, they were horrible. So listen to this, April. He would dump out, he had these two giant containers.
Oh,
He would
yeah.
divide the PE, the gym in half. He would
Yeah.
dump out half on one side, okay,
Oh,
and
I
dump the other side.
remember.
And it was called Pick Up Your Own Backyard. And the goal was to huck these giant red dodgeballs at each other and get each other out. And
Yeah.
the noise, the lights, the sensory experience of being nailed by one of those things.
Oh, the terror.
It was absolute terror. And I was talking to my best friend Allison about this, and she was like, I loved dodgeball. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, we're so different. So different.
Oh, yeah. So it's funny how, like, yeah, some people love that excitement and the challenge of that. For me, yeah, it was a lot because you don't know what's about to happen. You know you're going to be hurt. It's kind of amazing.
You're going to be hurt.
It's amazing that you look back and like what the things we were exposed to.
It's like, seriously.
But as an HSP, it's very intense. It's very overstimulating. Yeah, the noise, but also the emotional experience of that. And yeah.
And then just to have, just to be like, can I sit out? And he'd be like, you always want to sit out. And I'm like, well, do you see what you're putting us through? But I will say that in contrast to PE, like I liked music. It was a comfortable place. My mom was a piano teacher, and so that was something I was familiar with. But I tell you what, once I set foot in that art classroom with Miss Anna Janich, the best art teacher ever, I felt like I was home. I felt like I could be myself. She was this quintessential art teacher that had like crazy curls that were like clipped with all these different clips, and these glasses with the beaded, glasses holders, and just these crazy layers. And she would just sit at the front of the classroom and say, today, let's paint a cat. And she would do a very quick outline demo with whatever paint. And then the rest of the time we could just be. And it was just such a joyful, free, like pressure-free place to be that I have been very, very lucky to have amazing art teachers and professors in my life that allowed me. Most of them have been amazing.
Wow, what a contrast to PE, just coming in and
I know.
Just gotta be able to move at your own rhythm and follow your creativity. Oh, what a bomb.
Nothing's flying at me. Nothing's gonna. And I also think when we are doing something with our hands too, like I don't know about you, but when you're having a conversation with somebody, like, okay, my words don't always go in the right order. When I am creating with other artists, it is amazing how the conversation just is magical and flows. You just get into these topics that maybe you wouldn't necessarily get into if you're just sitting at a round table with everyone, just exchanging ideas. It's almost like both the art frees up the conversation frees up the art. It's a really fun thing. I wanted to ask you what your experience with art is. I mean, as a creative HSP person, I'm sure there is something art related.
It's funny because I still remember, I don't know if it was elementary school. I still remember my art teacher, and similar, like she was very eccentric and just very grounding. And it's funny, I was cutting out circles the other day, and I still remember how she taught us to cut a circle. And like other little things that have stuck in me. And I've always been drawn to art. I come back and forth to it. Like I really love watercolors, and that's been a goal recently. I used to dabble with watercolors, and I'm like, I want to take a class. I want it to feel that like experiential, tactile nature of that. There's just something, I love the fluidity and how I love mixing color. That's my favorite thing. Like creating new colors.
So fun. Yes.
And as a kid, I was more of a crafter than into art. So I would do crochet, and I don't know if you remember those things where you make like tissue boxes and things out of like yarn and plastic.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
called like
yeah.
Borgello or something like that, or Bargello,
Okay,
something like that.
okay,
I love
okay.
making pillows. I had a pillow phase where I make pillows out of t-shirts.
Oh, see,
I just had
so
these
you're like a
phases.
3D too.
I
See,
like
I'm very
3D. Yes,
kind of
exactly.
2D, but
I
yeah.
used to make a
Mm,
lot of like Christmas crafts out of old Christmas cards. I would make gift boxes.
oh my
Um,
goodness.
I don't
You
know.
are primed for collage. Can I just tell you?
That's true. I do enjoy some. It's funny. I like to collect a friend of mine, and we haven't done this in a minute, but we used to make art to send. So we would take
Oh,
things that we found, like postcards or stickers or junk mail or anything we found in the wild. We would make postcards out of it. Um,
well, you're a part of my art people now. I'm a part of the HSP community. You are a part of my collage community now.
that's true. I didn't really think about that.
Mhm.
It's fine. I always think of like, oh, I'm not really an artist. But then as you're helping me reflect, there's been very substantial art themes in my life, and I've drawn to different types of art or
Mhm.
creativity. But right now in
Mhm.
this part of my life, I really want to dive into watercolor. And now
I am
potentially
excited for you.
collage because
Good. Well, we'll have to talk sometime.
I
We
love
can do a
this.
Zoom and I can show you the ropes and
I love
um
that because I do
it's
love your
the
art.
best.
Having looked
Oh,
at it,
thank you.
I think we've only connected recently on Instagram, but I was looking at I was like, oh, this is very. I already told you, but it's like very ethereal and I don't know, complex but soothing. It feels very
Mhm.
HSP, and I loved it. It's like there's
Oh,
complexity here, and I love looking and finding all the layers and wondering about how these materials found their way to you and
mm.
all those. There's a lot of story there. I can tell.
There is so much story there, and I
Yeah.
love working with found objects like you do, but
Yeah.
I will go to estate sales and I will go to thrift
Yes.
stores and find like the older the better, like old handwriting,
Oh, I
old
love that.
vintage papers, and then I'll dye the
Yes.
papers and I'll paint them and I'll
Oh.
work with them. But the depth of collage, like, is sort of mirrors my depth of processing and the revealing and the concealing of, okay, this is here, but you know what, I'm going to paint over it. Ooh, like you're not going to see
Ooh.
it anymore, but I know it's there, and
Yes.
then maybe I'll put paint on it, but then maybe I'll grab a paper towel and wipe that paint off so it just leaves a little bit of a sheen. And so just that veiled approach. And then I just kind of do layers and layers back and forth until I feel like it's got that sense of calm, because that is
Mm.
important to me. I want it to be something that is compelling for me to look at, that I want to get lost in, like I get lost
Mm.
in moments, because I feel like as HSPs we exist in the spaces in between things.
Mm. Yes, we really do.
Just, I mean, you can get lost in just about any moment,
We could.
you know?
Well, everything is compelling when you notice the fine details and the
Yes,
nuance. It's like there's magic in everything. That is the
really
best part of being an
is.
HSP.
Oh, isn't
It's
it? I've said this
yeah.
before, but like my family is so patient with me, because
Mm.
I'll just be like, okay, you guys, go up ahead. I found a tiny little flower blossom that I have to take 25 pictures of. And then I'll
Yes,
catch up. And that is just me all the time.
that's so
I just
true.
can't stop. Can't
I do.
stop, won't stop.
Yes, I do take a lot of photos too. It's like, okay, look at this magical thing. And it could be a leaf, it could be a bug, it could be
Yeah.
anything. It's everywhere. I'm curious, do you incorporate some of your own photos into your artwork?
I do. I do
Yeah.
at times. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I can have the patience enough to like
Mm-hmm.
upload it, send it to the printer, find the right paper, like those linear steps can be a little bit challenging for
Yeah.
me to get from point A to point B. Sometimes it's easier to just, grab
Yes.
something from a beautiful 1920s magazine and just like, oh,
Yes.
that. I have been moving more and more into abstract lately,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
and I feel like my goal is, what's the most that I can say with the least amount of
Mm.
elements?
So,
Like,
Jill, I'm curious to hear what the process of becoming an artist has looked like for you. Is that something that was always you always knew, or has it been a journey to get here?
It's such a good question. I think looking back, I know that I was already like always an artist.
Yeah.
But I think that this is where conditioning comes in that tells us that it's not a real thing to be.
Yeah.
Um, when I was in high school, my senior year, I had some time after school and I would go volunteer at my elementary school classroom where Miss Janet still was a teacher.
Oh,
And
really?
so I got to help her in her classroom that I loved so much as a kid. And I thought at the time that I wanted to become an art teacher.
Yeah.
And by the time I got to college, um, in the mid 90s, art was really being phased out of schools. And
Mm.
so rather than, I mean, I don't blame anybody for this, but what I was
Mm.
hearing was, oh, that's not going to be a good way to make a living because it's getting phased out, which I mean, that's realistic.
Yeah.
But so I shifted gears and I loved psychology. And so I majored in psychology. And then by the end of that, I did a practicum. And I realized that I didn't know how to separate myself as a major empath from what I was seeing. And at the
Yeah.
time, that wasn't really focused on very much. And so
Mm-hmm.
I had pivoted from art teacher to now I will become a therapist. And then by senior year, it was like, oh my gosh, I am a wreck. I don't know how to manage this. So I got a minor in studio art
Mm.
because I had taken so many art classes. I got to spend the last semester in just kind of in the art building, and it was the best
Mm.
time of my life. I was this close to becoming, the art therapy certifications were brand new at the time, and I
Yeah.
remember attending a conference and I was just a little too overwhelmed by like, oh my gosh, I just finished my bachelor's degree. And like, do I really want to go on just straight out, like, and get
Right.
this master's degree? It was just like, I was ready to live. I was ready to not be in
Yeah.
a structure.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of threw everything off and traveled for years. I worked at an art gallery. Everywhere I've gone, I've done art. Art has
Yeah.
been with me. It has been the through line.
It's the core.
It's who I am.
It's who
And
you are.
yeah, and I actually have this sign on my wall too. It says,
Mm.
it doesn't matter what I create, it matters that I create.
Oof. Yes.
And it's just, that's it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm compelled. So many of us are as artists, like, we have no choice. Like, it is the thing when I walk into my studio, it's the thing that regulates me.
Yeah.
And when pieces find their home in the world, that's a bonus. That's the icing on the cake. What I am a
Mm-hmm.
proponent of is just everyone is an artist with their own unique form of expression. I just really, really, truly believe that.
I love that. It's true because we do minimize art and creativity. We tend to glorify those more intellectual parts of ourselves, and
Mhm,
we shut away our creative sides. So I'm curious if there are people listening that maybe are wanting to reconnect with their creativity, who are
mhm,
drawn to art. Maybe they're already an artist, maybe they're by trade, maybe they're wanting to be, or just wanting to get
mhm,
more creative in general. Is
mhm.
there a note of encouragement you could offer, or a
It's
message?
funny. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny that we're recording this when we are because I have it might not come out for a bit, but I have a challenge that I give people to create every day in May. And
Mm-hmm.
it's the idea is to give yourself 20 minutes a day and just play. Just
Yeah.
do anything you want. So I have this old-fashioned analog. I love
Oh yeah,
analog.
I have one
I
too.
know we are Trinity. Do you? Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Oh, you're my hourglass
I love
sister.
hourglasses.
I'm gonna put that back there. Um, and let yourself just reconnect with that child in the art room who's just free to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Grab anything you want to draw with and just let yourself be free. So it works for artists who are, are regular working artists who are working on things, like take a break from those projects and
Yeah.
just do something completely like left field, just so that you can exercise the part of your brain and keep that part free. The
Yes.
improvisational, intuitive part of that is the thing that has
Mm-hmm.
helped me stay connected. And so whatever you can do to find playful moments in your life to like sink into, if you're cooking dinner, like just kind of like take a little zoom out and realize like I'm creating something here. Like, so there's like the actual creating of the art, but then there's also the way of being in the world. There's the, how can I just like take a little bit of a step back and realize like, look at everything around us.
Yeah.
Like this is all just pretty amazing. So one of the things I wanted to show you is I have these little themed books. So one of the things I collect at thrift stores, secondhand stores, estate sales is cool old hardback
Ooh, yeah.
books. And a lot of times you'll just find one completely blank. But I found this one and I labeled it my book of freedom. And you know, I think as an artist, we're always trying to kind of like produce these like, okay, is this postable? Is it sellable? Is it
Right.
frameable? And I thought I need a place that is really dedicated to just scribble, just make stuff that like really is intentionally just not all that attractive. But so it's my scribble book. It is my book of freedom, and it is my book of full expression. And when I sit down with a crayon, like I'll put it in my non-dominant hand and I'll just play. What else? This was based on peonies the other day. I mean, it is just
beautiful.
There's so much that's just all over the place with it, and that's the point. It's not trying to be anything pretty. It's just gonna be out there.
Yes. It's so therapeutic. I mean, I've had clients also color with their non-dominant hand because it helps unlock memories and emotions, and you're not stuck in this habitual way of being with your dominant hand. And I love that you have that. It's like, yeah, permission to play and to be free. Reminds me of you being in your art class as a kid of like, yeah, here you could paint this cat, but you could probably do anything or have your own interpretation of it.
Yeah. There was never like the whiskers actually need to look like this. Like there was no criticism at all. Yeah. The other thing that I want to make sure to touch on while talking to you is the trusting of our intuition, the following of the threads of curiosity. I would say follow the synchronicities, follow the coincidences. They are not just flukes. If you pay attention to that, if we pay attention to those, oh my goodness, life is just so much more rich and meaningful, don't you think?
Oh, 1,000%. I mean, there's so many little nudges or instincts that come through, and like, I've learned to trust them over the years. Yeah. They're so, I mean, how lucky we are to have those insights.
Oh my goodness. And they always surprise you, don't they?
Oh yeah.
It's just the best. So I've got my book of freedom. I also have, this is so funny. I have a book of synchronicities.
Ooh.
And I write down those moments that are like too
uncanny.
Weird to have, but yes. And because I want to remember them. And so a couple of years ago, I started writing them down, and it's almost like that. It's almost like what they say about gratitude journals. It's like the more you write down what you're thankful for, the more you realize how much you have to be thankful for, and you start looking for those.
Right.
And I feel like that's the same, right? Well, you were going to say something.
No, I forget there's a term for it where your brain will start to track what you put focus on. It's like reticular activation or something like
I'm going to believe you. That's what we'll call it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Never heard that.
It's right that it's wherever you put your attention, it will grow. Yeah. Right? It's like, oh, okay, I'm opening myself up to noticing these moments, whether it's gratitude or synchronicities, or okay, I'm noticing when my gut is telling me something. I love that you have these spaces for this. You're making room for it.
I am.
And it's tangible.
I'm making room for it. And my brain, as an artist, I will tell you, one of the things that I struggle the most with is organization. Like when my studio is a mess, it is papers everywhere. I mean, I'll start out with the best of intentions to create in like a mindful, organized way. And within 10 minutes, things have exploded all over the place. And I know that's part of the joy. But at the same time, I do think that carving out these structures and systems can really help us be just a little bit more like, okay, I can exist in this world because I have these guardrails up or these compartments to put things in. So I'm trying to work with myself in a very gentle way of like, how can we be a little bit more, like sometimes I'll set the hourglass to just say for the next 20 minutes, we're cleaning. And that is just as good of whatever I'm trying to say, use of my time as it is to create. So I have trouble with I'm never uninspired. I'm over inspired.
Yes.
Do you feel that way ever?
Oh,
like there's just so much.
It's such an HSP thing. Cause I remember I was at a retreat led by Dr. Aaron, and I was teaching a breakout workshop, and I don't remember the topic, but we were talking about, we always have we have too many ideas, and we were joking like, oh, we should just sell our ideas as HSPs. We have so many of them and creating like an idea bank. Because there's every moment there's something coming through.
That's exactly right.
You have to kind of rein it in and give yourself some, not to put yourself in a box like you talked about at the beginning, but just to have some, I just like to think of it as like these soft guardrails, just kind of holding, gentle holding.
Yes.
That's all. And then, there's space for everything. I love it.
My friend Michael says, hold the intentions lightly. And I just love that. Just like, it's okay. We're gonna be okay. Like we can set intentions, but I also think it's HSPs. I don't know, is it just an ADHD thing to have the hyperfixation, or do you think that there's some crossover with HSP too?
I think there's crossover because we love to deep dive. When we get interested in something, we're so joyful. We're so invested. We love it so much. We can't stop. So I think we share that. Both groups share that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I don't remember what I was going to say about that, but that definitely happens to me. I was looking through this 1928 magazine. It was a beautiful publication, and there was a pretty ad. I can't believe how rich the colors are even in these publications that are over 100 years old, but it was for Campbell's soup. And I noticed that the Campbell's label was pretty much the same as it is today. Yeah. So then I spent my Saturday afternoon like doing some research on the Campbell's logo, and I wonder where this came from. And I wonder if
that's it. We go down these rabbit holes.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
It's interesting, right? It's like being able to, well, first off, notice that detail and then feel compelled to dive in further. And then just the joy of going down that journey and learning something. And it's very unique to us, right? Just all the different layers of that experience. And
I want to ask you something.
Yeah.
What do you remember about, because we spent a lot of time on what I experienced as a kid, and I want to hear what you experienced as a kid, like at school or things like that. Like, is there any crossover? You said the PE thing terrified you as well. But imagine there's other crossovers too. And I just want to hear from you.
Yeah. I mean, from an intellectual level, from a creative level, I love school. I loved getting new books, and I loved, school supplies, and I loved a fresh start in the fall. But the actual, that was one layer. From a sensory perspective, from a social perspective, school was pretty overstimulating. I remember as soon as I would get on the bus, I'd pull my knees up to my chest, and I would just get lost in my inner world. And then when it was summer, I would spend whole days on the couch reading or like doing big like I love to immerse myself in projects, usually late at night when everyone else was asleep. So I would be uninterrupted. And I love like being outside in the woods behind my house. And so school was mixed for me. Like I loved learning and I loved exploring. But also I was excited to get back home and to get back into my own little bubbles, which I think is really fun. We just had an episode on the HSP school experience, which just came out. And so I noticed there's a lot of crossover for us as HSPs where it is overwhelming. And we do reach for these other practices, whether it's art or whatever our interests are,
Mm-hmm.
just to help counterbalance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, you're not alone in that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's good. It's just so
Yes.
comforting to be with other HSPs and to just sort of understand that we all are looking through kind of the same lens. Like it's
Yes.
really comforting to just know other people and talk to each other.
Yes, it's true. And it's very normalizing, because growing up, there were obviously we were around other HSPs. We didn't know it ourselves. We
Hmm.
didn't know it was, they were
Hmm.
also highly sensitive. But now having the language, being able to connect with other HSPs, it's like, oh, okay, you too? Okay, I'm
Hmm.
not alone. There's nothing wrong with me. It
Hmm.
just creates this permission slip to show up
Hmm.
as we
hmm
are, as we need to, and create.
hmm
And I love when people carve out unique lives for themselves, right? They
mm
break out of the mold and they say, you know what? I'm going to live my way. And it's
I'm
so
so glad that you
liberating.
said that. It absolutely is. And I actually wrote I wrote something out that said like I love that at this point in my life I have the confidence
Mm.
to embrace myself fully. I'm patient with my sensitivities. And I actually, here it is. I'm finally confident enough with who I am as an HSP that I can accept it. I can work with it. I can laugh at it. I can support myself through it. And I can carve out, you said the word carve, and it's perfect. I can carve out this life. And instead of constantly defending myself, I am now able to define myself. I'm able to step in and say, oh my gosh, like this actually is a pretty badass superpower to have. Like this is pretty cool that
Mm-mm.
we know certain things that we can pick up on that maybe other people don't. And there's real value to that. And if we can lean into those,
Yes.
then how joyous.
It's joyous. Define ourselves, not defend ourselves. I love that, Jill. And with that, we'll start to wrap up. I just want to thank you so much for just opening your heart, your stories to us. And I
Mm.
share with you earlier, I'm excited to hear your sensitive story through your perspective as an artist.
Mm.
Um, and it's been very insightful and illuminating. So thank you.
I'm so glad. You are such a sweetheart, and I'm so honored to have been able to spend this time with you. Thank you,
Yeah,
April.
thank you. And for folks who would like to connect with you, I'll share your website, your Instagram, and your Substack in the show notes.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much.